What's up, Everyday Blades? Man, we got a monster here today. It's been said a lot of things about this knife, but one of the things that caught my ear the most was the most expensive production knife in the world. Okay, maybe not this model, maybe Rockstead in general is what they were talking about, but so I wanted to try it out. I've heard a lot of great things about them. I heard some mixed reviews about them. And when a knife is that expensive, I want to see why. All right, I want to know where the value's at. I purchased some expensive knives. I mean, even knives that are a little bit above my budget, like my Rosies. I mean, I love them. They're killer knives. I'm not a guy who screeches and scrawks about price, right? If a knife is just that killer, and even if it's overpriced, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna find a way to buy it if it's that good, right? So this is the Rockstead Higo 2. I was fortunate to find it secondhand, and even secondhand they sell for $1,500 new. The only way I've found to buy them is secondhand, because I haven't found a way to buy them new because they're not in stock. And even secondhand, people still want $1,500 for them, which is understandable. That's what happens. Usually it's more than that, right? My Rosie's like $800-900. One of them's like $800-900, and I paid table price, and I paid $13.50. So that's just part of the deal. But anyway, they're about $1,500 secondary, and I got a much better deal than that. Still not an amazing deal, but a better deal. So I wanted to kind of tell you about the value, what I thought about this knife. Rockstead's claim to fame is that blade. I mean, it's no doubt killer. I mean, look at the work sharp flag on my wall. I mean, there's some time put in that blade. But one of the things that kind of concerned me was I've heard it advertised, and I've heard people talk about that it's a full zero grind, that it goes from the edge goes from here to here, but I don't see that. And if you'll look, when we put in the reflection, right before it gets to the tip, about 1/8 inch before it gets to the tip, it's distorted, right? And on further inspection, when you look at it, right before it gets to the tip, it drops off pretty sharply. So it's got a convex edge on it, kind of like a work sharp puts on there. So to me, that's not a true zero grind, but what do I know? You know, it's neither here nor there. It's still a beautiful blade, it still cuts good. This was sold to me as almost like new in the box, never cut anything, never carried, just fidgeted a lot. One issue it has was disclosed to me with the anodizing. And all those things were true when I got it. Didn't have any dings, scratches. The blade was perfect. I tested it on the sharpness tester. It tested at 85. That's the lowest reading I've ever gotten on there. I've had some of my knives test, I think, at 85-ish. And that's the lowest I've been able to get it. So that's just sharp, no doubt. I've heard these scales called a lot of things. Wood. I've heard someone say they were glued on. None of those things are true. This side scale, the show side scale, is screwed on from the inside with some little small chinchy brass like rivets in here that you put in and slide over, and this one you put in and slide over. Now when I say tiny, they're tiny. I had to use like a needle point and a small pair of microscopic tweezers to work those things in and out, and it took me a long time, and it was very frustrating. I don't advise taking this scale off. I figured I normally don't take knives of this caliber apart if they're brand new, but this wasn't new. This was secondhand, so it was going to have some cruddy inside of it, right? So took it apart and cleaned it and fought. Another thing, those little rivets that are in here, like screws or, nuts or whatever, when you slide them over, there's two little, on each side, there's like a little tooth that grabs it on each side. and it's super thin. I mean, to me, it just doesn't seem like a quality fastener for that scale. I mean, if you drop that thing, it seems like you could snap those off. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not an engineer. This side, on the other hand, has those same 3 screws, but it also has this screw holding it on, this screw holding it on, and this screw holding it on. Now on this side, you could have carried the pivot through and then just put the body screw here. I don't think that would have taken away too much from the knife, and it definitely would have given you a lot sturdier knife. Another issue, the anodizing, what we're discussing. This knife is not very old. This is just a guy laying around fidgeting it. Look at all the anodizing gone. All the way around the knife at the tips of on the back mainly. Anodizing gone. Anodizing on all the tips gone. Gone. I don't know if that's a weak anodizing, or I really think they need to research an alternative finish for that titanium, because that is not done very well. I've done some anodizing. I've had lots of knives that were anodized, and I have had some wear after a long time and a lot of use. That usually holds up pretty well. This is not holding up at all. It's rubbing right off. So that's another nick. I do like the fact that it's bronze phosphor washers. Has a very, very smooth action. Better than it's kind of hydraulic, but you can flick it out. It's a really great feeling action. It's not drop shut, never will be. I don't think you'd want to even try it with that blade. It's so sharp. That would cause a lot of damage if you made a mistake. It's got some jimping right here, which is cool. I don't know what the function would be for, but it looks really cool. The lockup is really, really nice. Like I said, it's a good quality knife, no doubt. Let me wipe some of this smudge off the blade. You catch yourself cleaning this blade constantly, but that's the deal with mirror polishes. That's just what it's going to be. That's the trade-off. So if you take the blade from here back, right, the knife from here back, and say you just slapped a drop point S45 VN blade on there, $400 or $500 knife all day long, Chris Reeves territory. What you got to ask yourself is that $1,000 blade? Might be to you. Do you think that blade is unbelievably cool and you got to have it? Obviously I did, because I bought it and I really like it. I mean, the blade is killer. I have no issues with the blade, other than them calling it a zero grind. And I may not know what a zero grind is. I may be talking out of my rear end. But the clip is a standard stamped pocket clip. That doesn't spell $1,500 knife to me. It's got a decent lanyard hole if you're into that. I don't know if anybody would want a lanyard with a bead slinging around on this thing, banging it up. But what took me over the, I've been looking at this knife for a long time, but what took me over the edge to buy it was Metal Complex. He actually uses his quite a bit, and I use my knives. I don't have any knives that I just take and put up in my safe and don't use. I'm just not that kind of person. I don't open concrete sacks with them all day, but I use them. I carry them. And he showed his blade, and he showed that he cuts cardboard with it and whatever he needs to do, and he's had it for a while. And I was worried about that mirror polish just scratching all to hell. Well, this is a 67 Rockwell hardness. Super, super hard. It would take a lot to scratch it, and his didn't have any scratches on it. He used it over and over and over, and it still looks brand new. So that's what sold me on there. Like I said, the blade is killer. The knife is well built. It's a bit girthy. I think for this kind of knife, it's a little bit too girthy. So look at it compared to the Rat 1. I mean, that's a thick boy, but some people like that. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's not, I wouldn't call it weighty for its size. For its size, it's not heavy at all. But, great materials, carbon fiber, titanium. It's got Higo written in English. And then they're all numbered. This one's 258. it's just a killer blade. I mean, they did a good job on the blade part. I like thumb stud knives. I like thumb hole knives a little better, but I like thumb stud knives well over any type of flipper. I like that about it. The only thing I have an issue with is price, and I never have an issue with price, right? The main thing that gets me is those dinky screws inside of here, man. It just, when you take it apart, it's like you made all this beautiful, knife, and on the inside you kind of chinched out on that. I didn't care for that. So my personal opinion, which probably means nothing, but as far as value, I'd say this knife probably should sell for no more than $800. I mean, that's a high price for this knife. That's high. You can get a lot for $800. I mean, a lot. Maybe $900. I mean, if you really like the blade, this is not going to change the price of what they sell for by any means. This is just me saying that I think. So here's the final conclusion. If this is something you've been chasing, and it's not going to dent your budget, I don't think you'll be terribly disappointed. And I don't think it's a great knife. And if it doesn't hurt you to spend $1,500, reach out there and grab it. But what you might consider is, if you're a guy who's selling some knives you really like to pay for it, and you've been saving up, I think you might think twice about it, because I think you might be a little disappointed. I think you might be like me and expect a little more out of it than what you're going to get. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. God bless you and your families. Say a prayer for our country. Good night.